What if I told you that everything you've been taught about attracting wealth and abundance has been backwards? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. For years, you've probably been chasing success, running after opportunities, and pushing harder to make things happen in your life. Has this ever happened to you? You work tirelessly, follow all the conventional advice, yet somehow prosperity seems to slip through your fingers like water. You watch others effortlessly attract wealth, relationships, and opportunities while you struggle to make ends meet, wondering what secret they possess that you don't. Here's the truth that might shake everything you believe about creating abundance. You've been approaching it completely wrong. The most successful, wealthy, and fulfilled people on this planet aren't chasing abundance at all. Instead, they've discovered something far more powerful. They've learned to become magnetic forces that naturally attract prosperity to them. Think about a powerful magnet for a moment. Does it chase after metal objects? Does it strain and struggle to pull iron filings toward itself? Of course not. A magnet simply exists in its natural state, and metal objects are irresistibly drawn to it. What you're about to discover might surprise you, but this same principle applies to attracting abundance in your life. The concept of magnetic abundance isn't some mystical theory. It's a fundamental universal principle that operates whether you're aware of it or not. Right now, as you're watching this, you're already a magnet. The question isn't whether you're attracting things into your life, but rather what you're attracting. Are you magnetizing scarcity, struggle, and limitation, or are you drawing in wealth, joy, and infinite possibilities? Most people unknowingly operate from what we call a scarcity mindset, believing that resources are limited, that there's not enough to go around, and that they must compete and fight for their share. This belief system creates an energetic frequency that actually repels the very abundance they desperately want. It's like trying to use the wrong end of a magnet. Instead of attracting, you're pushing away everything you desire. But here's where everything changes. The universe operates on principles of infinite plenty, endless resources, and limitless possibilities. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share will fundamentally shift how you see abundance forever. When you truly understand that scarcity is nothing more than an illusion created by fear and doubt, you begin to access a completely different reality, one where abundance flows naturally and effortlessly toward you. Imagine waking up each morning knowing that wealth, opportunities, and success are being drawn to you like iron filings to a magnet. Picture yourself no longer struggling or striving, but simply aligning with the universal energy of prosperity that's always been available to you. This isn't fantasy or wishful thinking. This is the natural state of those who understand magnetic abundance. The people who seem to have the golden touch, who attract success in everything they do, aren't lucky or special. They've simply learned to shift their internal frequency from scarcity to abundance, transforming themselves into powerful magnets for prosperity. They've discovered that abundance isn't something external you have to hunt down and capture, but rather an energy you align with and allow to flow through you. Right now, you're surrounded by infinite possibilities waiting to be accessed. The wealth you desire, the opportunities you dream of, the success you've been chasing, it's all already moving toward you. The only question is whether you're positioned to receive it. And that positioning, that magnetic alignment, is exactly what we're going to explore together. What you're about to learn will challenge everything you thought you knew about creating wealth and abundance. The hidden truth behind this transformation lies in understanding one of the most powerful forces in the universe: gratitude. But not the superficial gratitude most people practice. I'm talking about gratitude as a vibrational frequency that literally rewires your magnetic field. When you genuinely appreciate what you currently possess, something extraordinary happens behind the scenes. Your entire energetic signature shifts from broadcasting lack to transmitting abundance. Think about this for a moment. Every thought, every emotion you experience creates ripples in the invisible field around you. Most people unknowingly spend their days focusing on what's missing, what's wrong, what they don't have. This creates a frequency of scarcity that pushes abundance away like opposing magnets. But when you shift into genuine appreciation for what already exists in your life, your health, your relationships, even the device you're using to watch this. You begin broadcasting on an entirely different wavelength. This isn't about forcing positive thinking or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the profound impact that authentic gratitude has on your ability to attract more of what you desire. The universe responds to the vibrational signal you're sending out, and gratitude communicates one clear message: you're ready to receive more. But here's where most people stumble on their journey to magnetic abundance. They try to think their way into prosperity while their emotions remain stuck in fear and doubt. They repeat affirmations about wealth while their actions demonstrate scarcity thinking. This internal conflict creates what I call energetic static, mixed signals that confuse the universe and block the natural flow of abundance. True magnetic abundance requires something deeper: perfect alignment between your thoughts, emotions, and actions. When these three elements work in harmony, pointing in the same direction toward your desired outcome, you become an irresistible force for attracting prosperity. It's like tuning into a crystal-clear radio frequency where there's no interference, no static, just pure signal. Your thoughts become the blueprint, your emotions provide the fuel, and your actions create the pathway for abundance to flow into your reality. When someone appears to have that golden touch, when opportunities seem to find them effortlessly, this alignment is their secret. They're not lucky. They've learned to eliminate the internal conflicts that sabotage most people's attempts at creating wealth. This alignment process involves making conscious decisions about where you focus your mental energy, how you respond emotionally to circumstances, and what actions you take daily. It's about becoming aware of the subtle ways you might be sending mixed messages to the universe. Maybe you're visualizing success while feeling unworthy, or declaring your desire for abundance while hoarding resources out of fear. If these insights are speaking to you, and you want to continue this journey of conscious abundance creation, hit that subscribe button. I share practical wisdom like this regularly, content designed to actually transform your relationship with prosperity, not just motivate you temporarily. The impact of achieving this alignment extends far beyond financial prosperity. When your inner world operates in harmony, when there's no longer a war between what you think, feel, and do, you tap into a level of personal power that most people never experience. You begin making decisions from a place of clarity rather than confusion, strength rather than desperation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's something most abundance teachers never tell you about this alignment process. There are specific daily practices that can accelerate this transformation, simple shifts that create profound changes in your magnetic field. These aren't complex rituals or time-consuming exercises, but subtle adjustments in how you move through your day that compound into life-changing results. Write in the comments, "I'm ready for alignment," if this resonates with you and you're committed to this transformation. The first practice that creates an immediate shift in your magnetic field involves something that goes against every scarcity-based instinct you've been programmed with: generous giving. But here's the revelation that most people miss. Giving isn't about sacrifice or loss. It's about creating energetic cycles that multiply your capacity to receive abundance in ways you never imagined. When you share your resources, time, or talents freely, you're making a powerful declaration to the universe. You're demonstrating unwavering trust in the infinite supply that surrounds you. This act of giving sends a clear signal that you operate from abundance rather than lack, and the universe responds by amplifying that flow back to you in unexpected ways. Think about the most prosperous people you know. Behind the scenes, they understand this principle intuitively. They give generously not because they have excess, but because giving is what created their excess in the first place. It's a cycle that feeds itself. The more you give from a place of abundance consciousness, the more channels open for prosperity to flow back to you. But this isn't about forcing yourself to give when you're operating from fear or scarcity. That creates resentment and blocks the very flow you're trying to activate. True generous giving comes from recognizing that there's always more where that came from, that resources are infinite, and that sharing multiplies rather than diminishes your supply. The impact of this mindset shift extends far beyond financial decisions. When you operate from this understanding, you begin making choices that reflect abundance in every area of your life. You share knowledge freely, offer help without expecting returns, and invest in others' success knowing that their prosperity doesn't diminish your own. Now, here's where the transformation really accelerates. The way you give is directly connected to something even more fundamental: your perspective. This is the hidden lens through which you interpret and interact with every single experience in your reality. Most people don't realize they're walking through life wearing glasses that filter everything through scarcity, limitation, and competition. Your perspective acts as the master switch that determines whether you see opportunities or obstacles, abundance or lack, possibilities or problems. It's the difference between looking at a challenging situation and seeing defeat versus seeing it as a stepping stone to greater success. This isn't about positive thinking or denial. It's about consciously choosing the filter through which you process reality. When you shift from viewing life through a scarcity filter to an abundance filter, something extraordinary happens. The same circumstances that once felt overwhelming suddenly reveal hidden opportunities. The same relationships that seemed draining begin offering unexpected support. The same work that felt like a burden transforms into a pathway for growth and prosperity. This perspective shift is like upgrading the operating system of your mind. Suddenly you begin noticing resources that were always there, but invisible to your scarcity-focused awareness. You start recognizing patterns of abundance that surround you daily: the generosity of strangers, the endless creativity of nature, the infinite ways prosperity shows up when you're tuned to receive it. The journey of transforming your perspective requires conscious decisions about where you direct your attention throughout each day. It means catching yourself when you default to scarcity thinking and gently redirecting your focus toward possibility and abundance. These small course corrections compound over time, creating massive shifts in what you attract into your experience. But there's something even deeper happening when you master this perspective shift, something that creates an almost magnetic pull for prosperity that most people never discover. Write in the comments, "I choose abundance," if you're ready to shift your perspective and see the opportunities that surround you. What happens behind the scenes when you master this perspective shift is that you begin operating on an entirely different vibrational frequency. This isn't mystical theory, it's quantum physics applied to abundance. Every thought and emotion you experience emits a specific energetic signature that acts like a radio signal, broadcasting to the universe exactly what you're ready to receive. Most people unknowingly spend their days transmitting on the frequency of struggle, worry, and limitation. They think about bills while feeling stressed, visualize goals while harboring doubt, and talk about abundance while emanating the energy of scarcity. This mixed signal creates static that interferes with their ability to attract prosperity. But when you consciously maintain thoughts of gratitude, positivity, and genuine optimism, something remarkable occurs. You begin naturally attuning yourself to prosperity's frequency, making abundance a natural consequence rather than an exhausting struggle. It's like finally tuning into the right station where the music plays clearly instead of fighting through interference. If this resonated with your soul, and you felt that inner recognition of truth, show me by hitting the like button. It helps me know what serves you most powerfully, so I can create more content that truly impacts your abundance journey. The transformation happens when you realize that your current financial situation, your relationships, your opportunities, everything in your life right now, is a direct reflection of the frequency you've been broadcasting. This revelation puts you back in the driver's seat because it means you have the power to change your results by changing your signal. Your vibrational frequency isn't just about positive thinking, though. It's about the deep-seated beliefs and emotions that run beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. You might say you want wealth while unconsciously believing you don't deserve it. You might affirm abundance while feeling guilty about having more than others. These contradictions create energetic turbulence that blocks the very prosperity you're trying to attract. Now here's where most people get stuck on their journey to magnetic abundance. They understand the concept intellectually, but struggle to embody it consistently. True abundance attraction requires something deeper than occasional positive thoughts. It demands embodying the feeling of already living in prosperity. This embodiment isn't about pretending or forcing yourself to feel wealthy when your bank account says otherwise. It's about accessing the internal state of someone who operates from abundance consciousness. It's about making decisions from prosperity rather than scarcity, responding to challenges from confidence rather than fear, and carrying yourself with the quiet assurance that comes from knowing you're naturally magnetic to success. The hidden truth is that wealthy, successful people don't feel abundant because they have money. They have money because they learned to feel abundant first. They developed an internal state that magnetizes external abundance toward their experience. This might seem backwards to everything you've been taught, but it's the key difference between those who struggle and those who thrive. Creating this internal state requires daily practices that reinforce prosperity consciousness. Through visualization exercises where you feel the emotions of already having achieved your goals, affirmation practices that reprogram your subconscious beliefs, and deliberately surrounding yourself with influences that support abundance thinking, you gradually shift your default operating system. The impact of this transformation extends into every decision you make, every relationship you form, every opportunity you notice or miss. When you embody prosperity consciousness, you naturally gravitate toward choices that align with abundance. You invest in yourself, you build valuable relationships, you recognize opportunities that others overlook because your internal frequency matches what you're seeking to attract. But there's a crucial element that most abundance teachings completely overlook, something that can accelerate this entire process and remove the barriers that keep most people stuck in cycles of limitation. Write in the comments, "I embody abundance," if you're ready to shift into this frequency and feel the transformation beginning. That crucial element revolves around recognizing and dismantling the invisible barriers you've unknowingly constructed around your own potential. These self-imposed constraints operate like invisible walls, creating artificial limits on what you believe is possible for your life. The hidden truth is that most of the obstacles blocking your path to abundance aren't external circumstances. They're internal restrictions you've accepted as reality. Behind the scenes of every transformation story, there's a moment when someone decided to question the constraints they'd been carrying. Maybe it's the belief that money is hard to come by, or that success requires sacrifice and struggle, or that people like you don't get to live abundantly. These mental, emotional, and financial constraints become the invisible ceiling that keeps prosperity just out of reach. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that every obstacle in your path represents a stepping stone toward greater abundance when viewed through the proper perspective. What most people see as setbacks, those who master magnetic abundance recognize as setup for breakthrough. It's not about denying challenges or pretending difficulties don't exist. It's about fundamentally shifting how you interpret and respond to them. This transformation requires making conscious decisions about how you frame every situation in your life. When you encounter resistance, instead of seeing it as evidence that abundance isn't meant for you, you begin recognizing it as the universe's way of strengthening your magnetic properties. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to develop the resilience, creativity, and inner strength that successful people possess. The journey from constraint to freedom involves systematically identifying where you've placed limitations on your own potential. Sometimes these barriers show up as financial, believing you need certain credentials, connections, or capital before you can pursue your dreams. Sometimes they're emotional, fear of failure, unworthiness, or concern about what others might think. Often they're mental, assumptions about how the world works or what's realistic for someone in your circumstances. But here's the impact of this mindset shift that most people never experience. When you begin viewing challenges as catalysts for growth rather than evidence of limitation, you develop what I call prosperity vision. You start seeing opportunities where others see problems, solutions where others see obstacles, and possibilities where others see dead ends. This isn't about forced optimism or ignoring reality. It's about recognizing that behind every apparent setback lies valuable information, new skills to develop, or unexpected pathways that wouldn't have been visible without the challenge. Those who attract abundance consistently have mastered this alchemy of transforming difficulties into stepping stones toward their goals. I'd love to have you as part of our community that's committed to real abundance. Transformation. Subscribe to the channel if you're ready for more deep conversations about magnetic prosperity and the mindset shifts that create lasting wealth. The most successful people understand something that struggling individuals miss. Constraints and obstacles aren't permanent fixtures in your reality. They're temporary conditions that serve specific purposes in your growth journey. When you approach them with curiosity rather than resistance, with excitement about what you might learn, rather than dread about what you might lose, everything shifts. This perspective creates what I call magnetic resilience, the ability to bounce back stronger from setbacks while maintaining your attraction to prosperity. Each challenge you navigate successfully increases your confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes next, which in turn strengthens your magnetic field for drawing abundance. Now, I want to explore how this transformative approach to obstacles connects to something even more powerful: the specific techniques that turn everyday challenges into abundance acceleration tools. Write in the comments, "I transform obstacles," if you're ready to see challenges as opportunities for growth and greater magnetic attraction. These abundance acceleration tools center around mastering what most people completely misunderstand about manifestation. The hidden truth behind effective manifestation isn't about visualizing what you want. It's about feeling the emotions associated with already having your desires fulfilled. This emotional engagement serves as the secret key that unlocks universal cooperation, transforming idle daydreams into powerful magnetic forces for creating reality. Most people approach manifestation backwards. They focus on the images, the vision boards, the mental pictures of their ideal life, but they miss the most crucial element: the emotional frequency that comes with actually living that reality. When you can genuinely feel the satisfaction, joy, and fulfillment of already having achieved your goals, you create an irresistible pull that draws those experiences into your physical world. The transformation happens when you realize that your emotions are the language the universe understands best. It doesn't respond to your desperate wanting or your logical reasoning about why you deserve success. It responds to the vibrational signature you emit when you're genuinely experiencing the feelings of prosperity, love, and achievement. This is why some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly while others struggle, despite working harder. Behind the scenes of every manifestation success story is someone who learned to access these elevated emotional states consistently, not just during meditation or visualization sessions, but throughout their daily decisions and interactions. They've discovered how to maintain the internal experience of abundance, even while their external circumstances are still catching up. But here's where most manifestation teachings fall short. They focus on the feeling without addressing the foundation that supports it. Your words carry creative power that either reinforces or undermines everything you're trying to manifest. The language you use throughout each day is constantly programming your subconscious mind and signaling to universal forces what you truly believe about your worthiness to receive abundance. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that when you speak as if your dreams are already manifest using "I have" and "I am" rather than "I want" or "I need," you fundamentally shift your relationship with prosperity. You're no longer operating from lack, desperately reaching for something outside yourself. Instead, you're claiming ownership of the abundance that's already yours, just waiting for you to align with it. This isn't about pretending or lying to yourself. It's about recognizing that in the infinite field of possibilities, your desired reality already exists. When you speak from that place of already having what you desire, you're not trying to convince the universe to give you something. You're announcing your readiness to receive what's already been prepared for you. The impact of this language shift extends into every conversation, every internal dialogue, every decision you make throughout your day. When you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that," you consciously shift to, "How can I afford that?" When you notice yourself thinking, "I need more money," you redirect to, "I have abundant resources flowing to me." These aren't just positive affirmations, they're declarations of your new reality. Your words become the bridge between your current circumstances and your desired future, creating a pathway for abundance to flow naturally into your experience. But there's something even deeper happening when you master this language of prosperity, something that accelerates the entire manifestation process in ways most people never discover. Write in the comments, "I speak my abundance," if you're ready to transform your words into powerful tools for creating your desired reality. What accelerates this entire manifestation process is the cultivation of what I call an abundance mindset, a way of thinking that serves as the magnetic force determining whether you attract or repel prosperity. This isn't about occasional positive thoughts or motivational quotes posted on your wall. It's about a fundamental shift in how you perceive yourself, your worthiness, and your relationship with abundance. The hidden truth behind every transformation story is that successful people genuinely believe they deserve prosperity. This isn't arrogance or entitlement. It's a deep-seated understanding that abundance is their birthright, not something they have to earn through struggle or prove through suffering. When you operate from this foundation, everything changes because you're no longer fighting against your own worthiness. The fact that you've connected with this message tells me you're serious about transforming your prosperity consciousness. If this conversation added value to your life, a simple like lets me know you're ready for more depth and practical wisdom. Most people unconsciously sabotage their abundance because, deep down, they don't believe they deserve it. They focus on obstacles instead of opportunities, limitations instead of possibilities, reasons why it won't work instead of ways it could succeed. This focus becomes a magnetic force that repels the very prosperity they claim to want, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of struggle and limitation. The journey toward magnetic abundance requires making conscious decisions about where you direct your mental energy throughout each day. When you consistently focus on opportunities rather than obstacles, possibilities rather than problems, you strengthen your magnetic pull and naturally draw greater wealth toward your experience. This shift impacts every area of your life because opportunities exist everywhere. You just need the right mindset to recognize them. Behind the scenes of this mindset transformation is something most abundance teachings completely overlook: the strategic use of your imagination as a blueprint creating tool. Your imagination isn't just for entertainment or escapism. It's one of the most powerful forces available for designing your abundant future and creating concrete pathways toward prosperity. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that when you engage all your senses in detailed visualization exercises, you're not just daydreaming. You're literally programming your subconscious mind to recognize and attract the experiences you're imagining. Your brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one, which means every detailed visualization session strengthens your magnetic field for attracting that reality. But here's where most people miss the mark with visualization. They create vague, abstract images without emotional depth or sensory detail. Effective imagination strategies involve seeing, hearing, feeling, and even tasting the experience of your abundant life. You feel the texture of success, hear the sounds of prosperity, smell the environment of achievement. This multisensory approach creates neural pathways that guide your decisions and actions toward manifesting that reality. The transformation accelerates when you create specific action plans based on these vivid visions. Your imagination shows you the destination, but practical planning creates the roadmap for getting there. This combination of visionary thinking and strategic action transforms abstract desires into concrete pathways toward prosperity, bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be. This process involves making decisions that align with your imagined future rather than your current circumstances. You invest in yourself as the person you're becoming, build relationships that support your expansion, and take actions that move you toward your vision, even when the logical mind says it's not practical yet. Now, I want to explore how this imagination-powered planning connects to something even more fundamental: the specific daily practices that reinforce this new reality. Write in the comments, "I see my abundance," if you're ready to use your imagination as a powerful tool for creating the prosperity you desire. These daily, practices that reinforce your new reality center around strategically crafting affirmations that actually reprogram your subconscious mind rather than just making you feel good temporarily. Most people approach affirmations completely wrong, repeating generic statements that their deeper mind rejects because they don't align with their current beliefs or emotional state. The hidden truth behind powerful wealth affirmations is that they must be specific, emotionally charged, and feel achievable. To your subconscious, when you say something like, "I am a successful entrepreneur creating value and prosperity," you're not just speaking words. You're creating verbal mirrors that reflect your deepest beliefs about your capacity for success. These statements become the new programming that guides your decisions, actions, and expectations. But here's what most affirmation practices miss. Your subconscious mind is constantly listening to everything you say, not just the formal affirmations you repeat during morning routines. Every casual comment about money, every offhand remark about your circumstances, every internal dialogue about your capabilities is programming your mind for either abundance or scarcity. This revelation transforms how you approach every conversation throughout your day. The transformation happens when you realize that affirmations aren't about convincing yourself of something untrue. They're about aligning your conscious statements with the abundant reality that already exists in the field of infinite possibility. You're not lying to yourself when you affirm your success. You're declaring your readiness to step into the version of yourself that naturally attracts prosperity. Behind the scenes of every major mindset shift is a decision to make these empowering statements feel as natural as breathing. This requires consistent practice until speaking abundance becomes your default language, until claiming prosperity feels more comfortable than complaining about lack, until affirming your worth becomes automatic rather than forced. Now here's where the real magic begins to unfold. When strategic affirmations combine with something even more powerful, living in consistent appreciation, you create what I call a permanent state of abundance consciousness. This isn't about occasional gratitude when things go well. It's about making appreciation your default emotional state, transforming your entire life into a magnet for beauty, goodness, and prosperity. The impact of this appreciation-based living fundamentally alters your relationship with wealth and success because you stop approaching abundance from desperation and start attracting it from appreciation. When gratitude becomes the lens through which you view every experience, even challenges become opportunities to appreciate your growth, your resilience, and your expanding capacity to handle greater prosperity. This appreciation consciousness creates what researchers call a positive feedback loop. The more you appreciate, the more you find to appreciate. The more beauty you notice, the more beauty appears in your experience. The more abundance you acknowledge, the more abundance flows toward you. It's like tuning your internal radio to a frequency that only broadcasts good news, opportunities, and possibilities. The journey of developing this appreciation-based mindset involves making conscious decisions about what you choose to focus on throughout each day. Instead of scanning for problems, you train yourself to scan for blessings. Instead of noticing what's wrong, you develop the habit of acknowledging what's working. This isn't denial of reality, it's strategic focus on the aspects of reality that support your magnetic abundance. Now, I want to reveal how this appreciation consciousness connects to something that most people completely overlook in their abundance journey. Write in the comments, "I appreciate my abundance," if you're ready to make gratitude your natural state and transform your entire relationship with prosperity. What most people completely overlook in their abundance journey is the crucial difference between forced action and inspired action. The universe responds to both thoughts and deeds, but not all actions carry the same magnetic power. Most people exhaust themselves taking frantic, desperate actions driven by fear and lack, wondering why their efforts don't produce the results they're seeking. The hidden truth behind effortless abundance is that inspired action feels completely different from struggle-based effort. These aren't forced attempts to make things happen. They're natural impulses that arise from alignment, intuitive nudges that guide you toward opportunities and experiences that support your abundant future. When you're operating from appreciation consciousness, These inspired impulses become clearer and more frequent because you're no longer clouded by desperation or anxiety. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough is someone who learned to distinguish between ego-driven action and soul-guided action. Inspired action feels light, energizing, and aligned with your vision. It might involve making a phone call you've been avoiding, reaching out to someone unexpected, or pursuing an opportunity that doesn't make logical sense but feels absolutely right. These impulses carry magnetic power because they're aligned with universal flow rather than fighting against it. The transformation happens when you stop trying to force outcomes and start responding to the subtle guidance that's always available when you're tuned to abundance frequency. This requires developing trust in your intuition and the courage to act on insights even when they don't fit conventional wisdom or logical planning. But here's where most people get stuck on their journey toward magnetic abundance. They encounter fear and uncertainty and interpret these emotions as signs they're heading in the wrong direction. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that fear and uncertainty often signal you're approaching significant growth and transformation, not that you should retreat to familiar territory. These uncomfortable emotions aren't your enemies. They're messengers indicating you're at the edge of your comfort zone, about to access unlimited potential that lies beyond familiar boundaries. Every person who has achieved extraordinary abundance has learned to move forward, despite fear, to take inspired action even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, to trust the process even when uncertainty feels overwhelming. The impact of shifting your relationship with fear and uncertainty is profound because it opens pathways that were previously invisible. When you recognize these emotions as temporary visitors rather than permanent residents in your experience, you develop what I call abundance courage, the willingness to pursue opportunities that align with your vision even when they feel scary or uncertain. This courage isn't about being fearless, it's about feeling the fear and taking aligned action anyway. It's about making decisions from your abundant future self rather than your scared current self. It's about trusting that the discomfort you're experiencing is the growing pains of expansion, not evidence that you're making mistakes. The journey of transcending fear involves making conscious choices about how you interpret and respond to uncertainty. Instead of seeing unknown outcomes as threats, you begin recognizing them as exciting possibilities. Instead of viewing challenges as proof you're not meant for abundance, you start seeing them as strengthening exercises that prepare you for greater prosperity. Now, I want to explore how this courage-building process connects to something that creates unshakable confidence in your ability to attract and maintain lasting abundance. Write in the comments, "I trust my path," if you're ready to embrace uncertainty as a gateway to unlimited possibilities and take inspired action despite your fears. This courage-building process creates unshakable confidence through developing what I call sufficiency consciousness, a revolutionary approach that most abundance seekers completely misunderstand. This isn't about settling for less or giving up on your dreams. It's about embracing a mindset that involves being genuinely content with your current circumstances while actively pursuing expansion toward your vision. The hidden truth behind sustainable abundance is that desperate energy repels wealth, while content energy attracts it effortlessly. When you're constantly focused on what you lack, constantly pushing against your current reality, you create resistance that blocks the very prosperity you're trying to manifest. Sufficiency consciousness eliminates this resistance by acknowledging the abundance that already exists in your life, while maintaining healthy ambition for growth. Behind the scenes of every lasting transformation is someone who learned to appreciate their journey rather than just focusing on the destination. This balanced approach creates sustainable momentum toward greater prosperity, because you're no longer operating from desperation or scarcity. You're making decisions from a place of already being enough, already having enough, while simultaneously expanding toward even greater abundance. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your current circumstances don't define your worth or limit your potential. Sufficiency consciousness allows you to be grateful for where you are while excited about where you're going. This emotional balance becomes a powerful magnetic force that draws opportunities, resources, and connections toward you naturally. This mindset shift transforms your entire relationship with money, success, and achievement, because you're no longer chasing abundance from a place of lack, you're attracting it from a place of already recognizing the prosperity that surrounds you. The impact extends into every decision you make, every opportunity you evaluate, every relationship you build. But here's where the real power emerges. When you master sufficiency consciousness, you begin to truly understand that you constantly create your reality through the power of focused thought and emotion. This isn't metaphysical theory. It's the practical recognition that your mental energy is either building the life you want or reinforcing the life you don't want. The transformation accelerates when you realize you're not a passive victim of circumstances, but an active artist painting your life's canvas with colors of prosperity and fulfillment. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every word you speak is adding brushstrokes to the masterpiece of your experience. The question isn't whether you're creating your reality. You're always creating it. The question is whether you're creating it consciously or unconsciously. By consciously directing your mental energy toward abundance rather than lack, toward possibilities rather than problems, toward gratitude rather than complaint, you become the deliberate architect of your abundant future. This requires making moment-by-moment decisions about where you focus your attention, what stories you tell yourself, and what emotions you choose to cultivate throughout each day. The journey of conscious creation involves recognizing that your current reality is simply the result of your past thinking patterns and emotional habits. This recognition is incredibly empowering because it means you can change your future by changing your present mental and emotional focus. Now, I want to explore how this conscious creation process connects to identifying and removing the specific internal barriers that keep most people trapped in cycles of limitation. Write in the comments, "I create my abundance," if you're ready to take full responsibility for consciously designing your prosperous reality. This conscious creation process reveals something most people never discover. The specific internal barriers that create the greatest obstacles to abundance aren't external circumstances or market conditions. They're the invisible walls you've unknowingly constructed through limiting beliefs about money, success, and your own worthiness to receive prosperity. These mental and emotional barriers operate behind the scenes, silently sabotaging your efforts while you focus on external strategies. The hidden truth is that most abundance blocks aren't about lacking skills, connections, or opportunities. They're about unconscious programming that tells you money is hard to come by, that successful people are somehow different from you, or that you don't deserve to live abundantly. These beliefs create energetic resistance that prevents prosperity from flowing naturally into your experience, no matter how hard you work or how many techniques you try. Behind every transformation story is a moment when someone decided to examine and release these invisible limitations. This process requires honest self-reflection about the stories you've been telling yourself about money, about successful people, about what's possible for someone like you. It involves recognizing that these aren't truths. They're simply beliefs you've accepted, and beliefs can be changed. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that you don't have to earn worthiness or prove you deserve abundance. Prosperity is your natural state, temporarily blocked by conditioning that convinced you otherwise. When you identify and release these limiting beliefs, you remove the dam that's been holding back the flood of opportunities, resources, and connections that are always trying to reach you. This releasing process involves making conscious decisions about which thoughts and beliefs serve your abundant future and which ones keep you trapped in cycles of limitation. It requires developing the awareness to catch yourself when old programming surfaces and the commitment to choose empowering beliefs instead. Now, here's where the real magic begins to unfold. When you remove these internal barriers, you naturally begin connecting with what I call the infinite abundance flow, a continuous circulation of wealth, opportunities, and prosperity that exists all around you. This flow is like an endless river that never runs dry, constantly moving resources, ideas, and connections throughout the universe. The transformation happens when you realize you've been standing on the banks of this river as an observer, watching abundance flow past you, when you could have been swimming in it all along. Most people remain spectators to prosperity, waiting for permission or the perfect conditions to step into the flow. But the truth is, the river is always there, always available, always ready to carry you toward your dreams. By stepping into this flow rather than remaining on the sidelines, you become an active participant in the continuous circulation of abundance. You stop trying to create prosperity from scratch and start aligning with the wealth that's already moving through the universal system. This shift transforms you from someone who struggles to generate abundance into someone who naturally attracts and channels it. The impact of connecting with this infinite flow extends far beyond financial prosperity. You begin experiencing synchronicities, meeting the right people at the right times, discovering opportunities that seem tailored specifically for you. What others call luck, you recognize as the natural result of being aligned with abundance flow. Now I want to explore how this connection to infinite abundance combines with something even more practical, expanding your awareness to recognize and capitalize on the prosperity opportunities that surround you daily. Write in the comments, "I join the flow," if you're ready to step into the infinite abundance that's always been available to you. This connection to infinite abundance combines with something incredibly practical that most people completely overlook, expanding your financial awareness far beyond just knowing your bank balance. True financial consciousness involves understanding economic trends, investment principles, and wealth creation strategies that most people never learn because they're too focused on survival mode to think strategically. About prosperity, the hidden truth behind lasting abundance is that comprehensive financial knowledge becomes the foundation for making informed decisions that multiply your abundance-attracting capacity. When you understand how money actually works, how wealth is created and transferred, how economic cycles operate, you stop being a passive recipient of financial circumstances and become an active architect of your prosperity. Behind the scenes of every major wealth transformation is someone who invested in expanding their financial intelligence. This doesn't mean becoming obsessed with money or losing yourself in complex investment strategies. It means developing the awareness to recognize opportunities that others miss, understanding the principles that govern wealth creation, and making decisions that compound over time. The revelation that changes everything is realizing that financial education isn't just about managing money. It's about developing the mindset and skills that naturally attract more money to manage. When you understand investment principles, economic patterns, and wealth-building strategies, you begin seeing possibilities everywhere. You recognize undervalued opportunities, understand market cycles, and position yourself to benefit from trends that others don't even notice. This expanded awareness transforms your relationship with money from reactive to proactive. Instead of hoping for financial breakthrough, you create conditions that make breakthrough inevitable. Instead of being surprised by economic changes, you anticipate and prepare for them. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by financial decisions, you approach them with confidence and strategic thinking. But here's where most financial education falls short. It focuses on money while ignoring the fact that true abundance encompasses so much more than financial wealth. The most magnetic people understand that prosperity includes vibrant health, meaningful relationships, boundless energy, and deep fulfillment. When you become a magnet for all forms of abundance, you create a rich, fulfilling life that naturally attracts opportunities in every area. The transformation accelerates when you realize that health, relationships, and wealth are interconnected. Your physical vitality affects your energy for pursuing opportunities. Your relationships provide the connections and support that accelerate your success. Your emotional well-being influences your decision-making capacity and resilience during challenging times. This holistic approach to abundance creates what I call prosperity synergy, when improvements in one area naturally enhance all other areas. When you invest in your health, you have more energy for building wealth. When you cultivate meaningful relationships, you gain access to opportunities and resources. When you develop your skills and talents, you increase your capacity to create value and attract compensation. The impact of this integrated approach extends into every aspect of your experience, because you're no longer compartmentalizing different areas of your life. you recognize that the same principles that attract financial abundance also attract vibrant health, loving relationships, and meaningful opportunities. Now, I want to explore how this holistic prosperity approach connects to something that creates unshakable alignment between your deepest values and your vision of abundant living. Write in the comments, "I attract all abundance," if you're ready to become magnetic for prosperity in every area of your life. This holistic prosperity approach creates unshakable alignment when you recognize that your core values serve as an internal compass guiding you toward authentic abundance rather than empty accumulation. Most people pursue wealth without considering whether their methods align with who they truly are, creating internal conflict that sabotages their magnetic properties and leaves them feeling unsatisfied even when they achieve financial success. The hidden truth behind sustainable abundance is that when your pursuit of prosperity aligns with your deepest values, you create wealth that brings genuine fulfillment rather than the hollow emptiness that many financially successful people experience. Your values aren't obstacles to overcome on your journey to abundance. They're the very foundation that makes your prosperity meaningful and lasting. Behind the scenes of every transformation that creates both wealth and fulfillment is someone who took time to identify what truly matters to them. Maybe it's freedom, creativity, service to others, family connection, or making a positive impact. When you understand these core drivers, you can pursue abundance in ways that enhance rather than compromise what's most important to you. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that values, aligned abundance, feels completely different from desperate wealth chasing. When your prosperity vision honors your authentic self, the journey becomes energizing rather than exhausting. You're not sacrificing who you are to get what you want. You're expressing who you are through how you create and share abundance. This alignment process involves making conscious decisions about which opportunities to pursue, which relationships to build, and which strategies to implement based on whether they support or conflict with your core values. It means saying no to quick money that compromises your integrity, and yes to sustainable prosperity that enhances your authentic expression. But here's where most people struggle with maintaining this values-aligned approach to abundance. They understand the concept intellectually, but lack the practical tools to consistently embody it throughout their daily decisions and challenges. This is where building a comprehensive prosperity mindset toolkit becomes essential for long-term success. A complete mental toolkit includes gratitude practices that keep you connected to current abundance, visualization techniques that program your mind for future prosperity, positive affirmations that reprogram limiting beliefs, and mindfulness exercises that maintain awareness of abundance opportunities throughout each day. These aren't separate practices. They work together to build and maintain the abundant mindset necessary for consistently attracting wealth and opportunities. The transformation accelerates when you realize these tools aren't optional extras you use occasionally when motivation strikes. They're essential daily practices that maintain your magnetic field for abundance, just like physical exercise maintains your health or nutrition supports your energy. Without consistent use of these mental tools, you gradually drift back into scarcity thinking without even realizing it. The impact of having a well-developed prosperity toolkit extends beyond just maintaining positive thinking. These practices create neural pathways that automatically scan for opportunities, recognize abundance in unexpected forms, and generate creative solutions to challenges. They become your default operating system for navigating life from prosperity consciousness rather than survival mode. Now I want to reveal how this toolkit approach connects to something that removes one of the biggest obstacles to magnetic abundance: the deeply embedded limiting beliefs that operate below conscious awareness. Write in the comments, "I build my toolkit," if you're ready to develop the daily practices that maintain your magnetic field for abundance. This toolkit approach reveals one of the biggest obstacles to magnetic abundance that most people never even recognize: the deeply ingrained limiting beliefs that operate below conscious awareness, silently sabotaging every abundance effort you make. These aren't the obvious negative thoughts you catch yourself thinking. They're the subtle, unconscious programs running in the background of your mind, whispering that you're not good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough for true prosperity. The hidden truth behind these limiting beliefs is that they were installed during childhood when you were most impressionable, often by well-meaning adults who were operating from their own scarcity programming. Messages like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "Rich people are greedy," or "You have to work hard for everything," became part of your mental operating system, creating internal resistance to the very abundance you consciously desire. Behind the scenes of every major abundance breakthrough is a moment when someone decided to examine and challenge these false narratives that had been running their life without their awareness. This process requires honest self-reflection about the stories you've unconsciously accepted about money, success, and your own capabilities. It involves recognizing that these aren't universal truths. They're simply beliefs that can be identified, challenged, and replaced. The transformation happens when you realize you have the power to rewrite your internal programming. By replacing limiting beliefs with empowering affirmations that feel authentic and achievable, you eliminate the internal obstacles that prevent prosperity from manifesting naturally in your life. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about aligning your subconscious programming with your conscious desires. This belief transformation process involves making conscious decisions about which thoughts and assumptions you'll allow to guide your actions. It requires developing the awareness to catch yourself when old programming surfaces and the commitment to choose more empowering interpretations of your experiences and possibilities. Now, here's where many people miss a powerful tool that can accelerate this entire belief transformation process. Prayer, when understood correctly, serves as one of the most effective methods for aligning your desires with universal energy while expressing gratitude for what already exists in your life. But most people approach prayer completely wrong, turning it into desperate pleading rather than confident alignment. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that effective prayer isn't about begging the universe to give you something you lack. It's about affirming your readiness to receive abundance while expressing genuine appreciation for current blessings. This approach creates a magnetic field that attracts prosperity because you're operating from faith and gratitude rather than fear and desperation. This type of prayer becomes a bridge between your current reality and your desired future, creating energetic alignment that supports manifestation. When you pray from abundance consciousness rather than lack consciousness, you're not asking for something outside yourself. You're claiming what's already yours and expressing readiness to receive it. The impact of this prayer approach extends beyond spiritual practice into practical manifestation because it reinforces your new belief systems while maintaining emotional alignment with prosperity. It becomes a daily practice that strengthens your magnetic field while dissolving the internal resistance that blocks abundance. Now, I want to explore how this prayer-based alignment connects to something that transforms abstract desires into concrete action plans. Write in the comments, "I align with abundance," if you're ready to use prayer as a tool for magnetizing prosperity while transforming your limiting beliefs. This prayer-based alignment transforms abstract desires into concrete action plans through one of the most powerful, yet underestimated tools for magnetic abundance. Daily journaling that goes far beyond simply recording your day. Most people think journaling is about documenting what happened, but true abundance journaling involves creating energetic momentum toward prosperity by writing your future into existence. The hidden truth behind effective journaling is that when you write detailed aspirations accompanied by specific action plans, you're doing much more than organizing your thoughts. You're creating a blueprint that guides universal forces in delivering the prosperity you desire. Your written words become energetic instructions that program your subconscious mind while sending clear signals to the universe about your intentions and commitment. Behind the scenes of every major transformation is someone who learned to use writing as a manifestation tool rather than just a reflection exercise. This involves journaling from your future self, writing as if your abundant life is already unfolding, describing the emotions, experiences, and gratitude you feel as prosperity flows into your reality. This practice creates neural pathways that support the decisions and actions that make that future inevitable. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your journal becomes a conversation between your current self and your abundant future self. When you write with intention and emotion, you're not just setting goals, you're programming your mind to recognize opportunities, make aligned choices, and maintain focus on what truly matters for your prosperity journey. This journaling practice involves making conscious decisions about how you frame your aspirations, what language you use to describe your goals, and how you structure your action plans. It requires moving beyond vague wishes to specific, detailed visions that feel real and achievable to your subconscious mind. Now, here's where most people miss an opportunity to amplify this journaling practice with something that creates even deeper energetic alignment. Incorporating meaningful rituals and ceremonies that focus your intention and strengthen your magnetic field for abundance. These aren't mystical or complicated practices. They're simple, intentional acts that create sacred space for your prosperity vision. The transformation accelerates when you understand that rituals and ceremonies serve as powerful tools for channeling energy and maintaining consistent focus on attracting wealth. Whether you're lighting candles that symbolize prosperity, creating abundance altars with items that represent your goals, or establishing morning practices that align you with gratitude and possibility, these actions create energetic momentum that supports your manifestation efforts. These abundance rituals work because they engage your senses and emotions in the prosperity creation process. When you create sacred space around your abundance journey, you're signaling to your subconscious mind that this vision is important, valuable, and deserving of your focused attention. This emotional engagement amplifies the magnetic power of your intentions. The impact of combining journaling with meaningful rituals extends beyond just feeling good about your goals. These practices create consistency in your abundance focus, helping you maintain prosperity consciousness even during challenging times or when external circumstances seem to contradict your vision. Now, I want to explore how these intentional practices connect to something that revolutionizes your daily language and internal dialogue. Write in the comments, "I create sacred space," if you're ready to incorporate meaningful rituals that amplify your magnetic field for abundance. These intentional practices connect to something that revolutionizes your entire abundance journey, transforming the constant internal dialogue that runs through your mind every waking moment. Most people are completely unaware that their internal radio station is broadcasting 24 hours a day, sending signals to the universe about their expectations, beliefs, and worthiness to receive prosperity. The hidden truth behind magnetic abundance is that your internal dialogue constantly communicates what you truly believe about your capacity for success. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't afford that," or "I'm not good at money," or "success is for other people," you're programming your subconscious mind while broadcasting scarcity frequencies that repel the very abundance you consciously desire. Behind the scenes of every transformation is someone who decided to become the conscious director of their mental radio station, rather than allowing old programming to run automatically. By replacing negative self-talk with empowering affirmations and positive inner conversations, you literally transform your mental broadcasts to consistently transmit abundance-attracting frequencies. This isn't about forcing fake positivity or denying reality. It's about making strategic decisions about which thoughts deserve your attention and energy. When you notice yourself defaulting to scarcity thinking, you consciously choose more empowering interpretations and possibilities. This practice gradually rewires your neural pathways to default to abundance consciousness rather than limitation thinking. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your self-talk creates your self-concept, and your self-concept determines what you believe is possible for your life. When you consistently speak to yourself as someone who naturally attracts abundance, who deserves prosperity, who has valuable gifts to share, you begin embodying those qualities and attracting experiences that match this elevated identity. But here's where most people struggle with maintaining these positive internal conversations consistently. They understand the importance intellectually, but lack the external support and guidance to implement these practices effectively over time. This is where seeking mentorship and accountability becomes crucial for accelerating your abundance journey. Experienced mentors provide invaluable guidance from those who have successfully navigated the path to prosperity. They've already encountered the challenges you're facing, overcome the obstacles that seem insurmountable, and developed the mindset and strategies that create lasting abundance. Their wisdom can save you years of trial and error, while helping you avoid common pitfalls that delay manifestation. The transformation accelerates when you combine mentorship with accountability partnerships that keep you committed to your new practices and beliefs. It's easy to slip back into old patterns when you're navigating this journey alone, but having someone who understands your vision and holds you accountable to your highest potential creates momentum that carries you through challenging times. The impact of this support system extends beyond just motivation and encouragement. Mentors and accountability partners help you recognize blind spots, celebrate progress you might overlook, and provide perspective when setbacks feel overwhelming. They become mirrors reflecting back your potential when you can't see it clearly yourself. Now, I want to explore how this external support combines with something that creates sustainable transformation in your daily experience. Write in the comments, "I choose empowering thoughts," if you're ready to transform your internal dialogue and seek the support that accelerates your abundance journey. This external support combines with something that creates sustainable transformation in your daily experience. Incorporating abundance consciousness into every ordinary moment instead of relegating prosperity thinking to special meditation sessions or morning routines. The hidden truth is that everyday experiences offer countless opportunities to practice the very mindset that attracts greater abundance, but most people sleepwalk through their days without recognizing these powerful training moments. Behind the scenes of every lasting transformation is someone who learned to infuse routine activities with appreciation, gratitude, and awareness of current blessings. When you're drinking your morning coffee, you're not just consuming caffeine, you're appreciating the abundance that made this simple pleasure possible. When you're driving to work, you're not just commuting, you're grateful for the vehicle, the roads, the opportunity to earn income. This practice trains your mind to recognize and attract prosperity in all its forms throughout each day because you're constantly reinforcing abundance consciousness, rather than defaulting to autopilot thinking. Every meal becomes an opportunity to appreciate nourishment. Every conversation becomes a chance to recognize the wealth of human connection. Every challenge becomes evidence of your capacity to handle greater prosperity. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that this isn't about forcing gratitude or pretending everything is perfect. It's about making conscious decisions to notice the abundance that already exists in your experience instead of focusing exclusively on what's missing or wrong. This shift in attention creates neural pathways that automatically scan for blessings, opportunities, and resources. But here's where this daily practice becomes exponentially more powerful. When you move beyond internal appreciation to vocal expression of gratitude for existing abundance. Most people keep their appreciation private, missing the magnetic amplification that comes from actively expressing gratitude for health, relationships, shelter, and other blessings that surround them. The transformation accelerates when you realize that vocal appreciation sends powerful signals to universal forces about your readiness for greater prosperity. When you openly acknowledge the abundance you already have, you demonstrate your capacity to handle increased prosperity responsibly. You're proving that you notice, value, and care for what's been entrusted to you. This external expression of gratitude creates what I call appreciation momentum. The more you verbally acknowledge your blessings, the more blessings you notice to acknowledge. It becomes a positive feedback loop that strengthens your magnetic field while reinforcing abundance consciousness in everyone around you. The impact of this practice extends beyond personal manifestation because your vocal appreciation influences the energy of your environment. When others hear you expressing genuine gratitude, they're reminded of their own blessings, creating collective abundance consciousness that benefits everyone in your sphere of influence. Now, I want to explore how this vocal appreciation practice connects to something that creates vivid blueprints for your abundant future. Write in the comments. I express my gratitude. If you're ready to transform your daily experiences into powerful abundance training, while openly appreciating the prosperity that already surrounds you. This vocal appreciation practice creates vivid blueprints for your abundant future through something most people completely misunderstand about visualization. When most people attempt to visualize their goals, they create vague, colorless mental movies that lack the emotional intensity and sensory detail necessary to program their subconscious mind for manifestation. True magnetic visualization involves engaging all your senses in imagining your abundant future with such clarity that your brain believes it's already happening. The hidden truth behind effective visualization is that clear, detailed mental imagery creates magnetic blueprints that attract corresponding experiences into reality. When you see yourself achieving success, hear the sounds of prosperity, feel the emotions of accomplishment, and even taste the celebration of your achievements, you're providing universal forces with precise instructions for manifestation, rather than sending confusing mixed signals. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough is someone who learned to make their visualizations so vivid and emotionally engaging that their future success felt more real than their current circumstances. This isn't escapism or wishful thinking. It's strategic mental programming that aligns your entire nervous system with abundance consciousness. The transformation happens when you realize that detailed visualization isn't just about seeing pretty pictures in your mind. It's about creating such compelling internal experiences that your subconscious mind begins organizing your thoughts, decisions, and actions around making that vision inevitable. Your brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one, which means every detailed visualization session strengthens your magnetic field for attracting that reality. This visualization practice involves making conscious decisions about how much time and energy you invest in mentally rehearsing your abundant future versus mentally replaying past failures or current challenges. The more clearly you can see, hear, and feel your prosperity vision, the more naturally you begin making choices that align with that future. But here's where visualization becomes exponentially more powerful, when you combine it with something that demonstrates your absolute faith in universal abundance. Generous giving from a consciousness of plenty rather than scarcity proves to yourself and the universe that abundance is your natural state, not something you're desperately trying to acquire. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that generosity isn't about sacrifice or loss. It's about creating energetic cycles that multiply prosperity. When you share freely from genuine abundance consciousness, you're demonstrating unshakable faith in the continuous flow of resources while strengthening your magnetic properties for attracting even greater prosperity. This generous mindset involves making decisions about sharing your time, talents, and resources based on trust in universal supply rather than fear of depletion. Every act of generosity from authentic abundance consciousness sends powerful signals that you operate from plenty, which attracts more plenty into your experience. The impact of this generosity practice extends beyond just feeling good about helping others. It eliminates the scarcity programming that blocks abundance while reinforcing your identity as someone who naturally has more than enough to share. Now, I want to explore how this generous giving connects to something that eliminates one of the most persistent barriers to lasting abundance. Write in the comments, "I give from abundance," if you're ready to use generosity as a powerful practice for demonstrating and attracting greater prosperity. This generous giving connects to eliminating one of the most persistent barriers to lasting abundance: the unconscious scarcity perception patterns that operate beneath your awareness, silently sabotaging every conscious abundance effort you make. These aren't the obvious negative thoughts you catch yourself thinking. They're subtle thought patterns and automatic language choices that reveal deep-seated beliefs about limitation, competition, and lack. The hidden truth behind these scarcity patterns is that they've become so automatic you don't even notice them anymore. When you say, "I can't afford that," instead of, "How can I afford that?" When you think, "There's not enough time," instead of, "I have perfect timing." When you believe, "Someone else will get the opportunity," instead of, There's plenty for everyone. You're unconsciously programming your mind for limitation while blocking prosperity flow. Behind the scenes of every transformation is someone who became vigilant about catching these scarcity-based thoughts and consistently reframing them with abundance affirmations. This isn't about positive thinking or denial. It's about strategic mental hygiene that eliminates internal interference, preventing prosperity from flowing naturally into your experience. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your unconscious language patterns are constantly communicating with your subconscious mind, either reinforcing abundance consciousness or strengthening scarcity programming. Every casual comment about money, every automatic assumption about limitation, every default response to challenges is either building or dismantling your magnetic field for prosperity. This pattern recognition involves making conscious decisions about which thoughts deserve your attention and energy while developing the awareness to catch yourself when old scarcity programming surfaces. It requires commitment to choosing empowering interpretations even when limitation thinking feels more familiar or realistic. But here's where this scarcity elimination process becomes sustainable and effortless. When you integrate abundance consciousness into every routine activity, instead of treating prosperity thinking as something separate from daily life, most people compartmentalize their abundance practices, limiting them to morning affirmations or meditation sessions while allowing scarcity thinking to dominate the remaining 23 hours of their day. The transformation accelerates when routine activities become powerful abundance practices approached with conscious intention and appreciation. From savoring meals as expressions of nourishment abundance to appreciating nature's beauty as evidence of universal creativity, everyday moments offer continuous opportunities to reinforce abundance consciousness and strengthen your magnetic properties. This integration process involves making strategic choices about how you frame ordinary experiences. When you're stuck in traffic, instead of focusing on delay and frustration, you appreciate the abundance of transportation options and the privilege of mobility. When you're working, instead of thinking about what you have to do, you focus on the abundance of opportunities to create value and earn income. The impact of this integrated approach extends beyond just maintaining positive thinking, because you're training your neural pathways to default to abundance consciousness, rather than requiring constant conscious effort to think prosperously. Now, I want to explore how this integration of abundance into daily routines connects to something that transforms the very language you use to describe your relationship with prosperity. Write in the comments, "I live abundance daily," if you're ready to eliminate scarcity patterns and integrate prosperity consciousness into every moment of your experience. This integration of abundance into daily routines transforms the very language you use to describe your relationship with prosperity, and this linguistic transformation might be the most powerful tool you've never consciously wielded. Your daily language choices either support or sabotage every abundance attraction effort you make. Yet, most people remain completely unconscious of how their casual words are programming their subconscious mind for either prosperity or limitation. The hidden truth behind magnetic abundance is that every phrase you speak, every casual comment you make about money or success, every automatic response to financial situations is either reinforcing abundance consciousness or strengthening scarcity programming. When you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford it," and consciously shift to, "How can I afford it?" You're not just changing words, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind for prosperity consciousness. Behind the scenes of every lasting transformation is someone who became vigilant about their linguistic habits while making strategic decisions to replace scarcity phrases with abundance-focused alternatives. This isn't about pretending or lying to yourself. It's about training your brain to scan for possibilities rather than defaulting to limitations. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your subconscious mind takes every word you speak as a command, an instruction about what to focus on and what to manifest in your experience. When you consistently speak the language of abundance, you literally program your mind to notice opportunities, generate creative solutions, and attract resources that support your prosperity vision. This language transformation involves making conscious choices about how you frame every situation, challenge, and opportunity throughout your day. Instead of, I have to work, you choose, I get to create value. Instead of, bills are due, you focus on, money is flowing. Instead of, I'm broke, you declare, I'm building wealth. But here's where this entire journey culminates in something that transcends all techniques and strategies: embracing your inherent nature as an unstoppable abundance magnet. You aren't someone who needs to learn how to attract prosperity. You are prosperity. You aren't someone who has to earn the right to abundance. You are abundance. You aren't someone who might become wealthy if you do everything perfectly. You are inherently designed as a powerful magnet, capable of attracting endless streams of wealth, success, and joy. The transformation completes when you stop trying to become abundant and start embracing the abundance that you already are. By recognizing your natural worthiness, aligning your energy with prosperity consciousness, and consistently applying these principles, you become the conscious architect of your abundant destiny, rather than a victim of circumstances or a slave to scarcity programming. This recognition transforms your entire life experience through the power of magnetic attraction. Because you're no longer seeking abundance from outside yourself, you're expressing the abundance that flows through you. You're not chasing prosperity. You're allowing it to flow naturally through your aligned thoughts, emotions, and actions. Now, I want to reveal the final piece that ties everything together and makes this entire system work effortlessly in your daily experience. Write in the comments, I am abundance, if you're ready to embrace your natural magnetic power and speak the language of prosperity. This final piece that ties everything together is the recognition that your journey to magnetic abundance isn't a destination you reach, it's a way of being you embody. Every principle we've explored, every practice we've discussed, every shift in perspective we've uncovered becomes part of who you are rather than something you do. This transformation happens gradually, naturally, as you consistently align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the prosperity that's already yours. The beautiful truth is that you now have everything you need to become the magnetic force for abundance you were always meant to be. These aren't just concepts to understand intellectually. They're living principles to embody daily until they become as natural as breathing. Your abundant life isn't waiting somewhere in the future for you to finally get everything right. It's available right now, in this moment, as you choose to align with the infinite flow of prosperity that surrounds you. If this conversation has resonated with you, if you've felt that spark of recognition that comes from hearing truth, that aligns with your soul, I'd love for you to join our community by subscribing to the channel. We dive deep into these transformational concepts regularly, always seeking to provide practical wisdom that creates real change in your life, rather than just inspiring words that fade by tomorrow. And if you've stayed with me through this entire exploration of magnetic abundance, drop a comment saying, "This message was meant for me," so I know you're part of our tribe that's committed to conscious prosperity creation. Your engagement helps me understand what serves you most powerfully. The connection we've built through this conversation means something to me. So if you found value in this exploration, a simple like tells me you're ready for more depth, more truth, more practical wisdom for transforming your relationship with abundance. There's a video right here that complements this topic beautifully, diving even deeper into the specific daily practices that accelerate your magnetic transformation. Click and continue with me over there, because your abundance journey is just beginning, and I'd love to guide you through the next level of this incredible adventure.